Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. We're here, we're live for what is probably the final shift we've got here in FC Barcelona's headquarters, Ala Studio, the football den, whatever you want to call it. I think it's had a few different names over the last 3 years. We've been in here cracking out football content, Sorare content, watch-alongs, live streams, podcasts, you name it. We've been doing it. We've just cracked 10,000 subscribers on the channel as well, which is fantastic. But it is a kind of I don't know if I want to say passing of the guard. That's not definitely the phrase I'm looking for. But, you know, the life moves on. Things need to change. And, yeah, we're moving into Studio 2. But we'll see how that kind of move happens because we've got a few other moving pieces around. We're hoping it's going to be a bit of a celebration, guys, because I've got my lucky T-shirt on. Of course, Pavel Trader has rejected your offer. But we should have some guests joining us later on tonight as well because we've got... to kick off the show, to kick off the stream tonight, the bon voyage, the farewell to Ala Studio. We've got some guests joining us, but we also have some boxes. We've got some cards. We've got some rewards to be picking up from Sorare Game Week 3 it is. And I've got to say, guys, we've got a video that went out earlier today on the channel, kind of reviewing the first steps, the first stages we've had of the new Sorare and all the kind of moves we made with the strategy and how we think all of that is going. And this week, guys, was a little bit of, you know, I don't know if I want to say confirmation bias, but a little bit proof in the pudding, perhaps, from what we've seen the weekend before, that we're getting some results in some really competitive divisions without having marquee players, without having studs in the regions and in the divisions and all the rest. So getting to speed promotion, that's fun to see. But the results we had at the weekend here, we've got a wee relegation for the New York guys. It's probably quite fitting with how terrible they've been this year. But we made a last-minute change on deadline day. We've got some midweek action. We'll chat that later maybe. But we made some last-minute mistakes on deadline show. We brought in both the Matt O'Reillys, hoping, thinking, praying that we were going to get a farewell game for him. But sadly, it wasn't to be. As soon as the deadline locked, he was on the plane. He was easy-jetting it down to Brighton to get that transfer over the line. So it killed two Celtic teams. But guys, Marius Broholm, the hero on deadline day, the last-minute sub, the Tier 4 reward that we picked up, brought in a 100-point score to carry Ross Laidlaw losing 6-0 to Rangers over the line. We got a wee box for that. And the other team that didn't have an O'Reilly, we went double fullback. We went Dyson and Jonas Urbig, my green and white goalkeeper, finished 32nd in the end. I was hoping for a top 20 finish, but we get a card, we get a box, we get our second team in Division 1, which is lovely. But I'll skip by some other stuff talking about Celtic real quickly. But again, guys, this game week for me, the main theme on it was division selection. I went for the bottom division with, or I say Division 2. I went for a lower division in the champion region here with the backup guys. And, you know, they've just about got it here. 361 points, can you believe it? With 2 subs in this team, Quatra and Kang, both of them coming off the bench. Quatra not really doing anything. Kang obviously done the damage alongside Captain Robbo, alongside Big Man All Black. They just about get us a wee box. We'll see what comes out of that. And for the second weekend in a row, that's 2 for 2. We're picking up a super rare box. And it was the street team that have went out and done it again. Captain Cunha, Hamari Traore, with one of those assists that Sorare managers love to get. You pass it 5 yards to the right, and then someone goes and does something amazing. So we got boxed into that a little bit, which was great. Skorupski conceded 3, kind of held us back from maybe getting promoted or maybe doing something a bit more fun. And again, division selection, guys, we went bottom division in Bundesliga. Only Wirt's done something. The rest of this team was stinking. It didn't even get to 300 points, and we're getting a box. Almost got promoted, by the way, which is a nice little... It could have been a little bit of fun if someone else had done anything. La Liga, we didn't have the scores to really do anything. And then the special weekly stuff was just kind of fancy training. And then the midweek guys, we've only got a couple of teams, but they're all looking good to go. And this was a wee bit of zigging and zagging, a wee bit of the Kansas City shuffle, if anyone's ever seen Lucky Number 11. But we've got a bit of the Sociedad guys going out in La Liga D2, trying to get promoted into D1 alongside Sol here. But we went with Champ. We went with the strong La Liga team. We went into Champion. And I also put a 4-man team into D3 to maybe just cross my fingers and hope we get lucky with that. And I've got a D1 entry in Champion. And I've put the big La Liga guys, Danny Olmo on for his debut, Lenormand and All Black, the Atletico Madrid kind of pair there, and then Taki and Braze from Sociedad to maybe get a bit of Stardust, a bit of magic. So we'll see how that goes throughout the midweek. But I've got some of my guests, I've got some of my friends joining me tonight. They're sitting there waiting to get on to see what we've got to go through. We've got 5 boxes to crack open and a wee card. We've got a tier 3 rare. Now, this is out of a contender. This is going to help me get further into in-season. If anybody's seen the video from earlier today, rapid card acquisition. There is no Celtic cards in tier 3. They're all tier 2 and above, but there is Rangers cards in tier 3. So make of that what you will. And we really hope it's not a Rangers card, but it's in-season contender. He is Croatian. He plays in midfield, which is okay. He plays for Zagreb. Lukas Stojko. Well, I can't say his name, but this guy was not too bad a year or two ago. That's quite exciting. I wonder if he's actually, let's just hit claim all for the remainder of the boxes. So what's the quality of boxes we're picking up? 2-star, 3, 3, 3, 4. Nice. So let's have a wee look at this guy quickly for a moment. Is he stepping up? No, he's not. He was promising way back when, wasn't he? Yeah, but now I think we're maybe waiting for Batterina to move on before this guy maybe steps into the void. So one we can sit on. But yeah, that's basically all we're going to do with that. Now, when it comes to Essence, guys, we've got a pretty clear strategy when it comes to the super rares. All we want to do is get that as high as possible. So last week we get 10 Essence. I was really happy with that. I thought it was a good pool. This week we get 3 Essence. Not quite as spectacular. With the rare boxes, again, because I'm getting these cross-region, I'm kind of maybe happy to pull this at kind of the tier 1 level or something like that. But because we're getting 4 boxes, I'm kind of trying to gauge week to week how much Essence we actually capturing. From the crap box, we get, or the 2-star box, we get 3 rare Essence. The 3-star box, we're going to get, let me know what you think about Stojkovic. Is that a W? Is that an L? We got a level up. Okay. And this is the next 3-star box. So we got a level up and 3 Essence, and then we get 5 Essence. So I don't really know how we're doing for Essence 8. Don't know if that's great. We need this box to maybe get us out of a hole and get us a big amount. 4-star box. Oh, it's 2 level ups. Yay. So we've captured 3 level ups. And a little bit of Essence. 3 super rare, and I don't know what that was, like 8 or something for rare. Not a big 8 at all. But yeah, guys, onwards and upwards. Nice little fun reward opening. Nothing too spectacular has come out of that. And yeah, the gallery is updated as such. But guys, it is the final night in the studio, and I thought I would go and get some of my friends, some of my pals, some of the legends from around the Sorare community to join me tonight for a wee stream. Chat Sorare, all things new season, in season, classic, whatever else is going on. And he's been in backstage waiting to get on, probably the longest here, so I'm going to bring him in first. It's everyone's favourite. I recently heard him described as what was it? It was like foundation or something like that of the Sorare community. Recently, I think it was Nepenthez that said that. But when I heard that, I thought the more appropriate term is cornerstone. This guy's just he's in with everyone in that sense. And that is the one and the only Lairdinho. Laird, good to see you, my man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. It's celebratory, but it's also a little sad. But yeah, happy to be here. And I'm so jealous of your super rare Essence. I've won 4 super rare boxes, and all I get is level ups. I thought that the level up days were over, but that's all I get.
I was surprised with those rare ones. I look forward to cursing the day I get super rare power-ups because that's just a great way to slow the roll down for sure. And also backstage, many of you guys out there in the interweb will know this guy as my sparring partner. Obviously, the other half of the End Product podcast. We've got Stishy Boy. Stish, good to see you, my man.
What's happening, mate? Couldn't miss this. The big send-off for the studio.
I appreciate you staying up past your bedtime, Stishy Boy.
It's a late one.
Love it. Obviously, we have a joke because Stish is normally burning the candle at both ends for any that aren't with us. But yeah, guys, I've just cracked open some rewards. There's been a lot of chatter around like the new season. I think we've all been kind of, trying to get something up and running for our legacy cards, legacy galleries, and all the rest of it. And in the first couple of weeks, we've had a wee bit of, let's test this out. Let's actually, can my cards smash? Do they smash? Does that mean anything anymore? But did you just have anything to open tonight yourselves?
Not too much. I ended up chucking most of it all into the special, the 270, just because I didn't have. I was lacking a defender card for the La Liga tournament. So yeah, I was. I'm not that hopeful, to say the least. I've got some good looking sides out there, but I just get a feeling that it's not going to be my week, not my midweek anyway. Let's look forward to the Zidane special on the weekend and see if we can hit that.
Mine was mostly cash this weekend, which feels like it should be good, and yet I like winning cards. I did win one card from a player I've never heard of that is just a classic Sorare move. But Quinny, I was having some essence crafting discussion before, because I am doing the opposite of what you're doing for Super Rare, that every time I reach the level tier 5, I'm just going for it. And so I did that just now. And what I was going through is that I got to a level while opening my boxes to reach level 5, but I didn't want to keep opening my boxes in case I got to level 4, because then I could only open one, like tier threat, whatever the 4th threshold is. So I crafted a card and I got a tier 5 card, but I have another one. Do you want to see what I get?
Oh, love it. Share screen when you're ready.
Yeah.
Teasing is here. Maybe one of us, Laird, because I think me and you are in the same boat that this content creator luck definitely doesn't apply to.
Not it at all. I don't know what you have to do in order to, let me see if I can find it here. Here it is. All right. I'm hoping that works.
Yeah, Blue Tomatoes is giving us a juice.
Here we go.
Yeah, there it is right here. So I already decided. So I had, whatever the other card I crafted here, but here's the other one.
Ooh. He's American.
It never makes me feel good, to be honest.
For Tyrone?
So that's the second American forward I've crafted that I have never heard of.
To be honest, the last guy you got, I think did he make a squad? He did something, because I knew that they had a guy with a crazy like Uzbeki name or something like that floating about, and I heard you in was it you and Andy I was talking about that?
Yeah. No, I have no idea. He plays in where was this guy? He has a name I couldn't begin to say. Here it is. Kave Zahiro Slam.
He plays though. At least you got some utility out of him.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely. I lined him up this weekend. He didn't. He
didn't hit for
you. But yeah, he had a 94 the week before. I was like, okay, I guess it's just weird to like have two Americans I've literally never heard of now.
Yeah, especially being a Sorare player
playing out.
Yeah. Well. Maybe I should like VPN the next time I go to open a reward and do it out of France or something like that, and we'll get something better.
I've got a reward to open actually. I don't know if it will be much.
Oh, of course you do. Yeah. Right, let's see it. Share screen when you're ready, bud.
Yeah, I've done my boxes. Nothing to report there, but let me share the screen. Hold on. Okay.
Quinny, I think part of the reason we don't have the content creator luck is just so that people so that Sorare could be like, no, it's not true. See?
Yeah.
They don't win anything.
Don't do it live. Yeah. Right. I don't know if you can see my screen.
We fall on our sword for all of you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, a full-on card. Stishy boy.
Yeah.
Got to do a lot to get one of them these days.
I know, right? Where has my screen just gone? I just clicked off of it and then it's disappeared. Oh, here we go. Right. So tier 4. I just got nudged all the way out of the good cards all weekend with this team. So I just feel like this isn't going to be much fun. But let's see what it is. It was French. A defender, mate. Ooh.
Chelsea. Oh, it's a winner.
I'll take that. That's a good card win. I don't know. Trying to predict the Chelsea starting 11 is fun this season, isn't it? But he's a good player.
What tier was that?
Tier 4. He's in and out of the Chelsea side. He's not. Yeah, it looks like they're using him in the European competitions at the moment, but not so much the league. So yeah, be interesting to see. A couple of injuries hit that squad. You never know, but he's one of them players that's half decent to keep in the gallery because he could get moved on at the end of the season and end up doing pretty well elsewhere, I reckon.
Oh, nice, Toby. Yeah. I like that a lot. That's a good one, Stish.
Yeah.
Speaking of badass Badiashio, you wouldn't guess who's just showed up out of cyberspace.
Who we got?
It's not my sparring partner, but my co-pilot, Harry Trades.
I was going to bring him up because I was like, I remember when he got that super rare.
Benoit Trades in the building. What's going on, lads?
Trades.
Thanks for joining us, Harry boy. How did your reward session go?
Good, mate. Yeah, I actually what did I win? I won a
no spoilers, of course. Everyone, feel free to go and check out Harry's stream.
Me and Kennedy, one of the guys in my Discord, just ripped open his rewards. He won a Trubin, which was fun for first place.
Nice.
And then he won enough boxes to rip open 3 tier 5 plus essences, if that makes sense.
Nice.
I ripped open 1 and got a card that I've actually wanted. That Rocco Reitz who plays for Gladbach.
Ooh, yes. Yeah,
as a tier 5 plus. So I'm really happy with that, honestly, because I actually really rate him. I think he's really good. But I won a tier 3 from Anti-Stack, card that, Quinny, I think you're quite fond of, and it's Jimenez from Atletico.
Oh, that's
tier
okay. He's always injured.
Always injured, but for tier 3, I think could probably win worse. You could definitely win better as well. But no, it was fun.
So you guys are firmly in the camp of turn and burn on the essence every time at T5?
Mate, I won 5 super rare essence, hoping I'd win 10 because I was going to rip open my super rare as well. I'm 2 away. I have 18 super rare essence right now. Gutted. I would have just done it. I mean, Sean ripped open his. I know it's Sean. It can happen to anyone, but he ripped open his tier 5 plus super rare and won a Echeverry super rare.
Fun.
I think it's just rip as quick as possible.
I've got a rare one that I can do. I've got 30.
Done.
I feel like I might wait till the weekend. I've got a good feeling about some. I've got a few in-season teams now, and I feel like, I don't know about you lot, but the in-season lineups tend to win more boxes than the classic do, in my experience anyway. Even though my classic teams are actually way better, I just think the competition in classic is so fierce that the scores and the captain pick has to be so on point, even just to finish in the top 25%. If you're in maybe Div 1 or 2, I've been struggling with some of my lineups there. But the in-season contender coming down maybe into sort of Division 3 on that, I've been hitting the boxes, but I just keep getting power-ups, man. Like I've just burnt all my power-ups on a few sort of like level 18, 19 players to put them up to 20. But I haven't had so much luck with super rare. I don't think I've got any. I've got no super rare essence still. Don't think I've had any yet.
Same. It doesn't exist for as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, same. I'm lucky.
I personally can't put myself through the prospective pain of all the dud spot that will come out of it. And then, I can imagine like looking back after you've done it, say 6 times and seeing like 6 guys and you're like, oh, could have done with none of them and just done it now, and none of them would even be possible sort of thing. So especially with the super rare one, because I think it's going to be like really hard to get. Like I really do want to just try and build that up throughout the whole season and see how far it gets. Probably is the number one thing to try and work out, because who knows like how long it'll take to hit like one of those bigger targets. But yeah, I just can't. Like, we've all had so many bad rewards over the years, whether it be like you get into a good tier but you get a dud card, or you get like it's maybe been the topic over the last couple of days. Like you get a really good score, but you don't quite, it was a big weekend and you're kind of snowed under. Whereas with this, like I want to guarantee I get something I'm buzzing about, at some point, especially with the super one. But the rare one, that's it, because I've got more teams and maybe a bit more open to doing it a bit earlier or whatever. But it feels like because Essence is like the number one thing to win kind of now. That's kind of the thing a lot. I've been listening to all the content from everyone over the last few days. Like, card rewards aren't as easy to pull anymore. And that's because Essence is the main way to win cards now. So if I was only going to win a few cards, I would rather they were all definitely not tier 4s and 5s if I can help it.
True. Yeah.
I've seen a couple of instances that people are crafting high tiers in the Essence factory and getting tier 4s and stuff. So there's, that's happened. So I don't know. I just don't know if I trust Sorare to perfectly, spit out the right tier all the time in these scenarios, because they're not because it's their fault, but like there's just outliers sometimes, right? Somebody pays for a card like 35x the amount that it's worth because I don't know what, somebody's doing a dodgy deal or whatever, and it finds itself in a tier 2 pool when it should be in tier 4, and that's what comes out of your Essence. You'll probably get a swap. Like I'm not saying it won't be rectified, but I don't know. I just think, I don't know, especially because of in season as well. I think it's really beneficial to try and pump out as much as you kind of can from this Essence as quickly as you can if you want to play in season. Because these cards are worth more now than they are in 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week time, because there's just less utility realistically.
Yeah,
my plan was to do that what you were doing, Quinny, for super rare, like just accumulate until I know, because like I don't have the cards to win star super rares or tier 1 super rares, but I still have 0 Essence, so like it's gonna be a long way. The thought that it would take like a few months, now I'm like, maybe this is literally going to take me years.
Yeah,
it'd be funny to see what a good week looks like. I don't know how many teams you're playing, but I'm playing 4. And I think like I always think about my super rares as like kind of what a random person would start off with for whatever their budget is at limited or rare. So I've got like some okay guys, but not absolute smashers or whatever. I think when you've got like only 4 teams, like I've kind of got like 2, I don't know if I'd even call them okay weeks, but I've had 2 boxes out of 8 lineups essentially. And I wonder what I'm yet to kind of see is what does a good week look like? If you get more boxes, what division are you in? And then because like I think I got it with my rares last week or the first weekend, but I got I think I did get 20 Essence out of one of them. I got like a big chunk of Essence, and like that will come your way once in a while. And yeah, so I definitely can imagine you get jaded with it at some point, especially the one like if you're starting off with rare and you're struggling to get Essence, or what me and Laird are talking about, like super rare, because it is like you're just competing and you're not quite got that strength. But then you've got it sitting there, and you could just get a little reward for your efforts throughout the season so far. And definitely won't be a T5 at least, and well, I'll just take the punt kind of thing. So I'm not totally closing down the fact I might just I might cave later on, but I think like guaranteeing is good a reward. And I see what you're getting, Harry, as well. But I think I seen it was at Surface that happened to, because I seen that went on at Twitter earlier today, and like it was an error, and they might sort it. Which then maybe just thinks that guy I've just won. Someone in the chat said he's got an ACL, so I might have a swap on the go. So for my wee, so I was just thinking that was a tier 3. That should have been half decent. And although he's a wee wonder kid guy, if he's got an ACL to play with, then that's not too good for me, sort of thing.
I'm just having a look at the weekend up ahead. I don't know if anyone else is trying to figure out whether or not they're going to get involved in the top tacklers special. Is it just me, or has the rules on that changed? I feel like when they first announced it, there was like bonus points for yellow cards, but not for reds. So we were like, oh, like who's going to get booked but not sent off? But actually on the like entry bit, it says tackles and interceptions are worth 9 points. So it's just tackles and interceptions, not bonus for yellow cards. Is that right?
I think that was a different one that they were supposed to
Fighting.
Is there a vote?
Yeah.
So that's another one.
The fighting special. I'm getting confused here. Okay, yeah. So tackles and interceptions are worth 9 points. Has anyone been digging into the stats on this? Because I'm having a little look league by league at some of the players I've got, and I've actually got some pretty decent in terms of like where they fit in their divisions. A couple of players in my gallery are like top 5 in their division for interceptions.
We'll have some stuff shortly.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Cool.
going to be. I was leading on to that, Led. You're teasing
got
us already.
Yeah.
I like
Vinny
it.
Souza week, isn't it?
Yeah. Looking at it now, for me, in my case, it's a Luis Milla week or a Roberto week. But yeah, it's definitely
Surprises like
Conor Gallagher season. Now he's at Atletico. That's going to be his time.
anyone entering the once in a lifetime
I've got to get
Zidane
involved.
special.
Have to, but I think I might have to bolster my lineup with a couple of limiteds just to. If I'm going to try and compete, I don't want to like take too many of the good cards out of my other lineups. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be, you know, some of those big unique, big limited galleries are going to be wiping the floor with what I've got available in rare and super, etc.
So only 3 get to meet him, basically. So what I'm seeing here, top 3
podium. Aye. Yeah. I don't care too much for the special weeklies, to be honest with you. Like they look fine and all the kind of stuff they're doing is fun and all the rest of it. But yeah, I've definitely not. I'm not playing them with any kind of degree of, you know, strength or anything like that. There's a good one here in the chat, but I think, like I said, I was just kind of thinking, obviously coming into tonight, like I've been in here for 3 years. I've had a few different kind of seating positions in here, and a kind of lot has changed. And I think like this is the thing I kind of really enjoy about Sorare content at the moment. Is making it, watching it, talking to you guys about it, and all the rest of it is kind of like everything is brand new. And, you know, we're all kind of in the same position in a lot of places. And Welly Star, fist bump to you in the chat. What do you guys think of unlimited level ups? Because this was something that was implemented before in terms of the cap on it, before everything looked like the way it does. I personally wouldn't be for it. I like the fact that you need to train your cards up and level them up, and there's still some sort of legacy advantage if you've been here a bit longer, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But what do you guys think on level ups?
Yeah, I think 5 would be fine if they had to extend it. 5 doesn't seem like a terrible like increase, but yeah, in limited feels, yeah, it just feels too OP, doesn't it? Really.
I think you'll just end up with people buying brand new in-season card of the top player and then smashing it up to level 20 and trying to sell it. It won't. I don't think it'll. I think it will have a negative impact on like price of cards and stuff like that in the short term. And I think, yeah, like I just think it would be unfair as well, especially with the in-season tournaments. If people are able to do that to 4 or 5 cards in their gallery, they'll be so far ahead of, you know, even the collection bonus people on certain galleries. So yeah, I think it needs to stay how it is for now, personally.
It kind of just takes away the need to hold cards.
Yeah,
if you can just blast them up as soon as you can.
Definitely. I'd agree with that.
Yeah. Agreed. And it's not often you'll see him past this hour on rewards night because he's normally tied to a computer doing all sorts of stuff. But he's just about made his way out of doing all that to join us tonight. It's everyone's favourite whale, of course. It's McBride Ace. McBride, good to see you, my man. Hail, hail.
Hello. I didn't bring any tequila, but I brought a green can. I've got a Sprite Zero, so we can have a party. How you doing?
Just me on the tequila tonight then.
I can look at that after the weekend. Anyway, that's another point altogether. So.
How was your weekend, McBride? How was your rewards tonight?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, to be honest, apart from the cards that I won. But yeah, that was good. No, I got so I won some cash in like 21 boxes or something. So they were good because you know what you're getting in the boxes. But card rewards, not so good. That's life, isn't it?
We were talking about Essence a moment ago, McBride. How, if you don't mind me asking, if you know, how much Essence are you scooping out of 21 boxes?
Well, I don't know exactly how much it was, but I'm up to like 270 in rare and 200 and something in limited. Try to think how much it was. One of them came out at 30, so that was really good. Well, that was 10s. Probably about 175 or something like that. Because some of them are different divisions and everything. Eh? Some of them are really good. Some of them are not so good. So it's quite hard to calculate it all. I'm just going to wait. Everybody's all going bonkers and try to get lucky and stuff. And I'm just going to wait and just get shafted at the top level rather than the bottom. That's the plan.
Get surfaced.
I'm definitely going to wait. I just think like if you've got a lot of cards or whatever, you're better waiting because, you know, just having more tier 3s or whatever is not really going to help anymore. Whereas if you want to take a gamble at tier 3 level or whatever, that might help other people. But yeah, I don't want more cards at this point. I want to just sort of hang fire. Super Rare is going to take a long time though, unless you get like the luck that Thorpe gets or Jobson or one of those guys that just open like tier 3 or whatever and get Celtic players and things. But Super Rare is going to take ages. But I think limited and rares shouldn't really take too long. So we'll see.
That's good going. I think Laird's eyes almost popped out his head there when you said that.
Yeah.
How much essence you've got.
I know I've got a lot of essence. I've put in a lot of teams, but I think I'll double check actually because I've just done the video. So definitely I put a lot because obviously in rare level they've put it in under 23s and everything now. So yeah, 277 in rare, 202 in limited, and 70 in super rare. So
decent.
So you should get to a star by like November? Not even, maybe?
If Celtic beat Rangers, I was thinking next weekend, but I was remember it's in season and classic season and 23s now as well, so you can win essence like everywhere now. So it started to ramp up now because obviously I play like 3 divisions under 23s as well. So I think it'll be quicker than people actually think, and I think that's like why like some of the divisions don't have a lot of cards in them as well, because obviously you've got to project for that and make sure that that you've got cards available, more essence than Guinness. Not the weekend, I don't think, to be honest, but definitely not that weekend.
Do we think in season needs essence to still be attractive, or do we think that could be shipped back over to classic to make that a little bit more lucrative, or do you not think that makes any difference?
It's definitely tempting me in more now than I thought. Like I haven't really dipped into the market, but any sort of cards that I've got that are, I'm definitely looking at what can I fit into an in season. Is it possible? And even, you know, I'd rather enter maybe like a lower division, like a Div 3 in season, than I would put in like 1 or 2 of those good cards out of that lineup into something classic at the moment, just because I think classic is just such a clusterfuck in terms of how big the sort of pools of cards especially if you're in the sort of specials, where I've been stuck in those cap modes the last few weekends because my gallery's too spread out. You're just not getting near anything, even with a pretty good lineup. You know, I've had captains hit hundreds and still not got near the rewards because one other player's hit like a 45 and that's still not enough. So yeah, it definitely has made me look at in season more, and especially now with the essence in the boxes, it's like, well, why not? Like that's as good as a card win in other divisions. So yeah, the last game week or 2, I've been looking at what is possible in season first, always.
Mm-hmm.
Was your idea to like just win enough to play in season without like buying in season cards?
I've bought a few, not loads, but I've got some market credit as well, which means I'm looking at the market a lot more now because I don't want to sort of just waste that, because there are gaps in my gallery I could do a fill in, and I think a few purchases here and there would have me competing in maybe like an extra lineup here or there. So yeah, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like not having a La Liga defender, for example, so buying an in-season one of those probably makes sense. But yeah, just not the right ones haven't popped up on auction just yet. But yeah, I think maybe what they're doing is working, because I was dead set against buying any cards. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll win some. I'll wait. I'll bide my time. But I am looking at the market. I have dipped in and bought a few bits and bobs. So, and like I said, now I'm definitely looking at those lineups probably before I start looking elsewhere. So, yeah, maybe it's working. Maybe the marketing mind tricks have worked on me.
I like the essence being in season. I don't know if they could maybe adjust it. So it's also 50% box payout. And in season and only 25% in classic. So it's a little bit harder. And to answer Cameron, who's in the chat here, yeah, what division you get your essence from does matter. when crafting. But I thought before with like in season when it was cash only, like if you were a new player and you started playing in season, like yeah, you can win money and stuff, but like you wouldn't come out this season with any like trophies, for lack of a better term. You know, like you've hit in the top 50, you've hit in the top 20, maybe you've won a wee card. And some of the guys we spoke about tonight, guys that are maybe not mis-tiered, but you know, they're a good card for the tier they're in, and then maybe they come to help you later on. Because like I always love that part of the game. And I think if you were starting today, like it's really hard to direct someone to Classic. You have to really say to everyone that does start kind of newish, like really try your hand at it in season first. And I think if you were finishing, you're like, if you did come in, you played in season and only in season, and at the end of the season, you only finished up with like the same cards you've got. Yeah, maybe you've won a couple of quid along the way, but to have like no extra cards to show for it, I think like you'd be missing a trick there, Sorare wise, like, in terms of looking after the customer, as it were. Whereas for us as well, like it's just an extra place like McBride's talking about to go and boost up your classic stuff anyway, and it kind of helps your classic stuff be relevant, because if you're pulling essence out within season anyway, you know, at some point you will have a classic strategy, and if you can have them working in tandem, then it's just going to make it all the better. It makes it easier, like Stish is talking about as well, to go, fuck it, I'll go get that first team up and running the now. I'll buy the 5th guy I need to make it work, because you know that'll instantly help you with what's kind of working anyway. So maybe they could adjust the ratios or whatever, but overall, I like it.
After a season, though, those in-season cards are classic anyway. So
yeah, but like, you know, if you bought like the Tottenham collection, like is kind of the example everyone's been using for a few days, and you didn't win like an extra centre back from West Ham or an extra striker from Wolves, or you know, this and that and the other thing, and you finish the season, I just think as a Sorare player, like you're definitely like missing out on part of the experience with that, without having some sort of card reward along the way. Maybe you're selling them, of course, like people do, but there is always those few ones that's like, he's only a tenner, I'll just keep him, and then it becomes useful at some point. And I don't know, I say that's just a part of the game I've always liked, and I'm glad that it's still there in some way.
One thing I will say as well that I have done that I think has worked out okay for me is I've picked up a couple of in-season goalkeepers from Contender who are really cheap, just so that you've got that option to bring in like something really optimal in that lineup that isn't a goal. Because what I was doing before was just using a classic goalkeeper and 4 in-season cards that I'd won. But now I can put a goalkeeper in, and if they've got a good fixture, which I think the 2 I bought, one's the current backup at Incheon, who's in at the moment while Lee Bun-Su is injured, and I think I paid like 15 quid for his in-season goalkeeper card, rare that is as well. And I thought, that gives me a decent crack at winning that money back straight away. And the other one I bought was George Brun, who is obviously quite old. But, you know, he's got a fixture nearly every week in the Argentinian Premier League. And I think I paid 40 quid for his, which felt like good value given the sort of the utility I get. He might be old, and, you know, I am seeing him rotated. I was so unlucky a few weeks ago where I thought I was actually going to finish first in Div 2, which would have been a really nice payout. But then he DMP'd on me, and I still managed to finish in the money, but what could have been a few hundred quid turned out to be about 30 quid. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting tactic that I employed recently that I feel like it's working for me, in that I've now almost certainly got 3 in-season Contender lineups, and I can use a few of my classic cards that are like, you know, the big cards in my gallery that can really push those scores. And, you know, if you smash a captain on that classic card and he hits 100, that's way better than, you know, like scraping a 40 points with your classic goalkeeper. And that seems to be working for me anyway. So I thought I'd share that.
Yeah, I love that. Cheap goalkeepers is always like a good way to go, especially the in-season thing. Obviously, going cross region, some of those guys are just way slept on price wise. Like just all the non-European stuff has really got that discount on it right now, where no one cares about it. And, like, nobody's fighting you on the auctions, and if you win a reward, you will just accept the first offer that comes in. So yeah, love taking advantage of that. I just got a notification I thought I would throw out as well, because there's some people here that could have some good opinions on this one. But Matt O'Reilly is starting tonight already for Brighton. Is this
Crawley
be a W, or have you had any transfers that you know or you think will be W's in your gallery? I know Stish and McBride are obviously big O'Reilly holders, is similar to myself, but straight into the team tonight.
It's a good sign. Good sign. I mean, they're playing Crawley Town, so not massive. But the fact that they're putting him straight in is definitely good. And they paid a lot of money for him, so fingers crossed for all of us that he becomes the guy there.
Is Arsenal away? Arsenal away at the weekend, so
Mm.
I've already traded his unique. I told you, Quinny, didn't I? So
Yeah.
that was a tough one. But what can you do? I mean, there was 2 reasons. Like, I can't really play unique anymore because the rules all changed, so it just doesn't really work anymore. And it was either like spend like 10, 15,000 buying unique goalkeepers or stuff, or just come out of it. And then, yeah, I mean, price wise and stuff, it's interesting. If he goes down there, he does really well and he scores well, he might hold some of his price, but I don't think the unique is actually worth that much because he's struggling to get buyers. So I got Engels, who seems to be the replacement but hasn't signed yet. So that's Gamble, Kanate, and 0.3, which is terrible compared to what I paid for him. But I don't think that's really a bad luck story or anything. He won loads and loads and loads and loads. It would just been better, obviously, if he stayed for another season. So, but good luck to him. He's a great player, and I think he'll still do pretty well down there. But he's playing Arsenal this weekend, not Rangers or St Johnstone or Kilmarnock, but it's Arsenal. So I don't be expecting 80 or 90 against Arsenal, I don't think. It's a different kettle of fish.
Speaking of Brighton, Verbruggen's starting.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was training all last week, to be fair. Yeah.
What's that?
He was training all last week.
Oh,
but,
did he?
Yeah.
I thought he had a few more weeks.
You saying Kadioglu as well?
Yeah.
He's not starting today though, but they announced him today.
That's just a mad window they've had. If they get Buscaglia, I think I'll just buy a stack. Honestly, and just like
Sounds like
that,
a fun team.
that will beat Ipswich or somebody at or Southampton at some point and just clean up. Surely, you would have thought, because that is
100%.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just got so many attacking options though. Like rotation wise, could be a bit of a tough one to predict, like it was last season with De Zerbi.
I think as well with the centre mids, if you're looking at O'Reilly, they've got quite a lot in there at the minute, obviously with Weefa as well. And, if they don't get rid of Billy Gilmore as well, they've got quite a lot of players that operate in there on top of the, it's going to be interesting to see if they do nail like a sort of solid starting 11 or if they become another one of those sides that we're not really sure what their strongest 11 is. There's quite a lot of new players, a lot of moving parts there. Players coming in, coming out. They've loaned Barco, haven't they, out to Sevilla as well.
I'm sorry to cut across your stish, but James Milner started at the weekend for Brighton.
Yeah.
Surely Matt O'Reilly's going to get in the team. James Milner started.
I hope so. It's nice. Do you know what I was thinking the other day as well? Is like, who was the last player to come from the Scottish Prem and really do really well in the English Premier League?
Van Dijk.
No one ever.
I have to be back.
I mean, it's like I was thinking here, racking my brains, and obviously it was only a short loan deal, but obviously Henrik Larsson I thought was brilliant when he played for United in the short space of time that he did. But beyond that, maybe McGinn.
McGinn, aye.
He's probably the only other player who's really
Robertson, Van Dijk.
Robertson.
Some Champions League winners,
Yeah.
Robertson came from Hull. Come on now, let's not.
Aye, but where was he before Hull?
Yeah, but you can't just skip out the English Championship as the transfer.
Reading, Scotland. Yeah, it's got to be Virgil. Virgil's the big one.
Yeah,
because he went to Southampton and then he was with like world record transfer fee for a defender, wasn't it at that point? So
yeah,
and he didn't play any better for Southampton than he did for Celtic. It was just because people actually realised he was quite good. So yeah,
I think like one of the major issues that I've had with a lot of the signings that United have made is like we saw, move from the Eredivisie to the Premier League hasn't really worked out particularly great. I don't think for a lot of players that have made that move. You look at like Van der Beek and obviously United, we got loads, and Anthony obviously is the latest sort of headline of that sad story. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I'm always rooting for players who do really well in the leagues that they've left to come into the Prem. But I just think it's such a hard league to come into. unless you're coming into it maybe from La Liga, Bundesliga. Then anywhere else, you know, like what we would kind of classify as challenger contender divisions, I guess, on Sorare, it is always intriguing to see how these players will bed in and if they can get a foot in the starting lineups and really start to like make a name for themselves. So definitely be rooting for O'Reilly. And I do like Brighton as a club. I think, you know, their scouting is on point, as is well documented all over the world. But yeah, fingers crossed they get it right and O'Reilly lights it up and starts smashing it for all of us as SO5 owners. And McBride can be buying his unique back in no time with a bit of luck.
Can't
Oh,
play
By the way,
Unique.
that Andy Robertson shout was faulty, and he played 45 games in the championship
Ooh.
in 2015 to 2016. So, and also Matt O'Reilly was at Fulham and got bombed.
Yeah.
That's not remember. No, he was in a Premier League academy, but
Sure.
he's made his way back there. Fair enough. I'll give him that. To be fair, he was very impressive, Quinny. When I went to watch, remember when we went to watch that Leipzig game? I spotted him early on. I said, "You were Hatate. You were high on Hatate," and I was like, "Nah, who is that Matt O'Reilly kid?" And
He's off.
he's a very good player. Yeah, he's a good player. Very good player.
I know you don't have an O'Reilly, Laird. Have you had any transfers work in your favour yet? Or are you waiting for one? I don't know if the Felix one helped you sell it, maybe. I don't know if that's a good one.
To be honest, I was just hoping he went to Saudi. Like I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. I did captain him last week though. This past game week. Yeah. But no, I can't think of, I'm sure there's one. Paulo Diaz from River Plate almost went to Qatar, I think, and then turned it down. Or no, it was Saudi. I was kind of hoping some of the guys that I lost previously were ready to come back, and none of them have.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always nice when that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a free card.
Yeah,
Despite
I've
paying
noticed
$3 for it 2 years ago.
Vandenberg moving from Liverpool to Brentford is like hopefully going to be good. Nice. Again, that's one of them ones where it's just a bit of utility. That's a bonus already, but then he could do quite well there. I've been, you know, there was a lot of talk, wasn't there, at Liverpool that he might edge his way into the starting 11 from pre-season. Was really impressive. So yeah, he was a great card for me last season in the Bundesliga, and even before that, I think he played in the Eredivisie for a while, didn't he, on loan, if I remember rightly. But yeah, he'll hopefully come in handy. But I'm sort of similar to Laird, like watching some of my cards make their way to Saudi at the moment. I'm just kind of waiting for the nail in the coffin of João Cancelo. I think that he looks like he's on his way, doesn't he?
Done.
It's
It's done.
Is it done then?
Yeah.
I have the one where so I used to play Adon and Sebastian Coates, and Coates transferred back home to where is he now? Uruguay maybe, or something like that.
Enrolled, isn't it? Something like that.
No, it's Nacional. So it's like he plays Libertadores sometimes, and I'm like, he's the blue X, but I have Adon who hasn't signed with anyone. He's basically my age, and I'm like, he's not gonna, like, he hasn't retired, but he also doesn't play anymore. So it's like that's the one I'm waiting for, because like I have way too many of those cards since like I search on Twitter and it's like people are like, remember this match 25 years ago when Adon? And I'm just like, can somebody make a rumor up just to make me feel better?
Yeah. I think
The Cook one was a stinger, wasn't it, Stish?
Yeah. That was a big one. And another one was Van der Voort being kind of like benched as like not the first choice. I thought we were all kind of he's a bit of a Sorare hero, isn't he? He must have one of the highest sort of supplies, especially in U23. Like his for a U23 goalkeeper must be unreal. So he, you know, I think there must have been a few Sorare managers that shed a tear after that that interview where Galaxy was kind of named number one for the season. But yeah, it's really, really hurt my U23 options. In fact, I'm down to like one. Tanny's like my only real starter goalkeeper in like rare at the moment, which means a lot of my good U23 cards are kind of not really getting used properly. Yeah.
Can I tell you something really sad? You just reminded me of. I know I'm never on Discord, as many of you will know. I just can't stand it. But I open it every couple of days just in case someone's like, "I'd love to buy your New York collection for 20 ETH," you know, just in case that message comes, you know. So I open it, and there's a message in there saying something, you know, love the channel and all the rest of it. Let me know if you're still interested in that 1819 Vandervoort card. And I thought, oh, I am interested in this. Went to check, and it says 5 days now. By the time it said 3 days, it already traded off.
No.
Yeah, could have gotten
Was
back.
that your one? No. It's not your one.
Nah, you never walk on, still got it. But and I thought I was on my phone, so I don't actually know what the guy traded it for. So I thought, let's have this will be sad. Wow.
Wow.
Fuck a duck.
Yeah, it's
100
painful, isn't it,
quid.
looking at prices at the minute sometimes. Yes.
Fuck a duck, man.
That's what it
That
used
is
to
a
cost.
gutter.
That's what it used to cost. It is because he was 100 quid. I remember it because I never bought one, and I was always a bit annoyed with myself because he just went bonkers. But that's what it used to cost when he wasn't in the team when he was 17. We've come full circle in the whole. Like,
And now he's 22 and not in the team.
Yeah.
The car burner is called the bench. Like, then he's a car burner. We've got Saudi Arabia. We've got fucking Brighton, the bench. The whole
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I still hope he gets in the team, but yeah, it's
He
a
will.
bummer. that
I
he's
think he
not.
will.
Yeah.
Maybe
Because Blaswich, the guy that was keeping Galashy out the team last year because of the style of goalkeeper he is now at Salzburg. You know, so basically saying they had a Salzburg goalkeeper in last year over Galashy because he can pass the ball with his feet and all that crap. So surely it's a formality, I hope. You know, give Galashy 5 games or something and then wait till he breaks.
Captain, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is captain.
Yeah.
Surely he's on his way out. Come on, he's like 33, 34.
I mean, he nearly went to Saudi as well, didn't he? Actually, he was linked to a few. I think it was a Qatari team and a Saudi team after him, and yeah, quite surprised actually to see that. I thought, you know, they left him in Belgium for an extra season to sort of like give him another full season. I thought he's nailed on. I was really excited to use him. Lukeba. I've got like a really nice little RB Leipzig backbone of a U23 stack, if you like, there with Sesko up front. And, you know, you could look at bringing Vermeeren in now, like, and have a full-blown Leipzig U23 stack with Xavi Simons in the mix. Yeah. And unfortunately, no. They pissed on our parade and Vanderbilt.
One of the lads in my chat just said O'Reilly's injured already, apparently.
Yeah, he's in the live chat here. He's picked up a knock. With Kieran Tierney that again.
Buy him back for half the price in Jan.
I'm not going to be using them at the weekend anyway against
He's off
Arsenal,
injured
so
as well. Oh my god.
That's what happens when you fly EasyJet.
Yeah, no. Can't be comfortable, that I tell you. I'm saying that as if like I've never done it, but I've done it plenty of times. Yeah, Saul sent off as well.
I did. I used them in non-big teams, but it was it was in team 3 and 4.
Yeah, I've suffered a few DMPs already. I'm looking at now, like a couple of subs. But I think the 35 points off the bench doesn't make you feel so bad about those, like seeing the sub on your lineups. I don't know about you lot, but I see it's a bit disappointing to not see him on from the start. But especially when it's a forward, you know, coming on 35 and then get a couple of cheeky shots on target, it starts to look a little bit better straight away, doesn't it?
I've got to say on that note, I was catching strays in Laird's live chat for saying that the sub thing, maybe it was from Sean, I can't remember, maybe it was the live chat, but I remember saying the sub thing, it feels like Sean, yeah. The sub thing, like, is worked in for me big time already this season. Like, obviously you get guys like Kang that can come off the bench and smash whatever, but I've even had guys that have come off the bench and got like 12 AA and they finish with like a 54 or whatever. And
yeah.
It's still like the team isn't dead, you know. So I've been loving it.
It's actually really nice when you got some of those like K-League players that start on the bench but come in after 20 minutes or something because of the under 22 rule. So like, yeah, looking at your K-League starting lineups is definitely a lot less painful now that you think, oh, you know, one of those subs comes in and 10, 15 minutes, we'll be all right.
I had the opposite this week where I played a guy that I was pretty sure he was going to start, but I was like, even if he doesn't, I know he'll come on. He started, had 60 at halftime without a decisive, subbed off in the 89th minute at 57 points. Like he lost 3 points in the second half. And I was like, they should have just ripped him at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that rule, to be honest. I think it's actually good because when you see the amount of carnage that happens at the weekend and you think your lineup's dead and everything, it gives you a wee bit of hope if it comes on the last 20 minutes or whatever, and even to get a bit of A. So you always get the sort of the decisive, like it went up to 60 if you get a goal or an assist, but I think it's still a wee bit better that way. I really don't mind that at all. So
yeah, it is a big difference, isn't it? That 10 points that you lose if back in the old scoring matrix, that 10 points could often mean a lot, didn't it? Especially when the captain bonus was only 20%. That 50% captain bonus is just a killer now, I must say. I'm still not sure how I feel about that, but I think it probably is needed where a lot of people's lineups are so similar at the top end of the leaderboards now, especially in limited, that if they didn't have that 50% captain bonus, it could literally mean 2 or 3 lineups with almost exactly the same score. The captain pick and the percentages, and yeah. I
don't like it. I really don't like it at all. I had a big rant about loads of stuff today on Twitter, so anyway, but I just don't like it.
It feels weird to me. It definitely does. I don't know if there's some kind of reason for it. It definitely, maybe, I can't get used to it.
It just creates like another thing with variance. So like if you had the lower captain score and you had like 3 good scores going and your captain had an average game, you were still in it. But now if your captain doesn't have a big score, you're toast. So also you get this thing where like people are, I get 450 and I didn't get much, but like if your captain scores 100, that's worth 150. So like like some of the scores that people might think are quite high scores are not actually that high raw scores if you take out the captain bonus and the collecting bonus and all that type of stuff. So it looks high, but it's not really that high. So how you put it back, like people will just realize that they're just hitting like shit scores, like under 400 stuff that's just not really going to win you anything that good. I don't know. And Quinny, you were saying, see the in-season thing about the essence. I saw a comment earlier. Like, I think they have misjudged it a wee bit. Like, if you're holding back cards so that you can let people craft them, and then you've put them into in-season as well, then that's just another thing that's been chucked to in-season. So everything's been chucked to in-season. Your granny, your bottles of tequila, everything's all been chucked in season, and all the cards have all been chucked out at the same time. And the effect of that is the card prices are too low. So they might look high, but they're not actually high, because if you play the in-season competitions, it won't be that hard to actually get your money over the course of the season, I don't think. So I think that they've went slightly further than they actually had to go. And if you look at all like the midweeks and everything now, every time there's a special, it's like we'll just give out cards and that. There's no real cash getting into any of the classic specials or anything. The midweeks, this midweek, there was a cap to 70. There was no cash for the podium. Like, it's just all a bit shit. And like, it's just like, I don't even.
Sorry, I was going to say, what if those special weeklies like kept as being cards and money, but it wasn't 4 in-season cards required? It was like 3 or something like that. I wouldn't have minded that too much. So I think classic cards access to cash, like you say, McBride, is a bit deflating at times. Like the only way to win cash is to get in season. So I quite liked the option of there being a division where there was cash and cards in abundance, like there was. But with it also having that really harsh in-season kind of eligibility on it, I just thought it was kind of like a false start. Like they've just cocked it up a bit. Like obviously the move they've made, what everyone kind of suggested, which was the best in terms of splitting it in half, like the cards go a classic version, is fine. But I think if they even just changed it to 3 in-seasons or 2 in-seasons needed and just went, hey, midweeks, it's a fucking free-for-all. Like, go for it, bring it. But you need 2 cards or 3 cards to get involved. I think that might have been.
I
a
think
win.
the multi entries in the specials is a bad idea. I think having 3 entry, I'd rather have 3 different tournaments that I can enter. Like we used to have cap 220, 240, 270. I think that was better than have a single entry rather than have it everyone. There's like 20 odd thousand lineups in like these specials. Do you know what I mean? It's too much, and then the prize pool works out at something like 2% of the entries or something at the end of it when you work it out. I think it's better that we all have 1 entry per special and just split the specials into 3 different specials, but make sure that they're all kind of like all-starry, stuff that is still you can chuck anyone in the mix, but just make sure that they're. I think multi-entry for the special makes no sense personally.
Yeah. The Euros was really good. I mean, the Euros is an interesting one because the prizes were really good, and obviously the quality of players was really good, and maybe there weren't a lot of players available because of the squads, but like at the Euros where they just said, right, there's no in-season requirements, like all those guys that were there all went up a lot. In fact, a lot of the guys in the better champ players kind of almost doubled. I suppose it had maybe dropped a bit towards the end of the season, but there was a really good sort of reaction there. With the Champions League stuff, like saying you need, for example, 4 in-season super rares, that's just bonkers. 4 in-season super rares, like you're almost kind of excluding people from being able to enter when you get to that, because the more you go up, the harder it is to get guys with the right quality so that you get 4 in-season super rares. I don't know, they went quite aggressive with it, but if I was doing it, like firstly, they're putting out a huge special at $7,000 for first say and rare, but they're only running it in one game week. So nobody's really going to be buying players for the Champions League because that game week you could have Real Madrid away and that's you stuffed. So if you said we're going to do this special over the Champions League, but we're going to have it over 3 games, or we're going to have it over every group stage or whatever, everybody would be going out and going, right, well, what, buy my stack for the Champions League? You can't even buy a stack because you don't know who you're playing. You don't know if you're at home. You don't know if it's going to be a good fixture. So I just don't know if it's a desired effect. I mean, you might get to a point where it's $7,000 for first and rare, and Real Madrid are playing against Celtic at home or whatever, and everybody says, yeah, Real Madrid are going to scud them. They're rubbish in Europe. And then everybody's buying Real Madrid players. But, half of the supply of the top rares, Real Madrid have already been sold. So,
yeah.
And they're going down. So at what point you just kind of look at it and go, hang on, we'll hang fire a bit here and sell into some demand later on or whatever. The specials are great, but like with the one where it's just a complete one-off type thing and you don't know exactly what the fixtures are going to be or whatever, I don't think that's generating any demand at the moment for the cards. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I thought they came out and said that we would have it for all the Champions League match days, and it was just like part of the calendar. It was only like they only showed 1 or something, maybe. I don't know if I've misremembered.
They're going to run a Champions League Classic, but there's no cash in it, so there'll be like a classic Champions League competition where you just play your Champions League players, but there's no cash. You're not even paying a podium or anything. It's like just pay the podiums. It's just went completely one extreme to the other, because all the money was all really getting given out for the thresholds, and obviously now it's all been moved to in season. And again, it's okay. Like for me, I can go and buy my Celtic cards or get results, and I can go and buy more players or whatever. But how many people on the platform can actually do that every season? Like
Very few.
Vast majority of people can't do that. So what it's no use suiting me or suiting Pranksy or whatever when everybody else is fucked. I mean, you win your cards, you've got to sell them to somebody else, right? Like you've got to have a good overall sort of platform. So I don't know, it's a new thing and they'll be learning lots of things from it. But there's definitely some stuff to improve. And let's get the button sorted, so now we don't need to put up with the UI. We can just go somewhere else and put our lineups in. We can just say, I'm not looking at that crap anymore. Not fighting with it. We'll just go and sort it and sort our data. Bang, we're in. Savior.
I don't even know what it looks like.
The button or the UI?
UI. No clue.
That's It looks nice, but it's absolutely shite. It's so bad, it's unbelievable. So
the one thing I noticed today, I think I'm like getting used to it because I put in a lineup. What did I do? It was my training lineups today. So I did them and I was like, oh, I'm used to it. But it was also realizing that I'm just used to clicking 17 times when I should just click once. And it's like, surely there's a better way than this.
So I was like snakes and ladders. So what happens is you go through, you eventually find out where training is because you need to discover a new competition rather than going through the other bit. You get to training, you get your training lineup in, you're sorted, and you think that's great. I want to do another training lineup. You go down the big snake and you go way back to the start, and then you have to go back through again to do your next training lineup. It took me fucking 10 minutes to do my training lineup. So all I was doing was just selecting Celtic players. It's bonkers. It's like I'm fed up with this already, and I was only like 2 lineups in. So there we go.
I kind of like it, to be honest with you. Like, minus a few of the navigation problems, I think we would all agree on. But I kind of like it, to be honest with you. I think it's quite snazzy. The screenshots are a wee bit more fun these days.
Yeah, but
That I agree with. It looks nicer for sure.
It looks good, but it's shit. Function over fashion. If you're telling people to put in 3 lineups per competition, people are going to have a lot of lineups. So you just multiply, you just piss them off 30 times every. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're annoyed with it or whatever, you just get. One of the days I started making the lineups, I just get fucked off with it and just left it and just stopped and just left it and just never come back on. How's that good for Sorare? They want people on this. They want me finishing my lineups and going, but I need a guy and getting away to the market. Why do they want me closing down the site and saying, Laird, save me. I'm going to go to Sorare data now. Where's the drafts? Just plug them in. You shouldn't have to go to another site to do your lineups properly. It's bonkers. I just don't get it. Anyway.
Quinny, I only have a couple minutes.
Of course.
And there was a comment way earlier that I wanted to go back to, but then I also just saw that Mamadashvili is going to Liverpool but staying at Valencia this season. But anyway, somebody asked about your top moments from the studio. And I'm curious what yours is because I have one that is so very clear and it's like a Sorare memory that I will literally take to my grave. And it's you winning Kyogo. Like that's like the pinnacle Sorare moment I've ever seen. And it was you were sitting in that chair right there. I was wondering if you had any others that stand out for you.
Well, the Kyogo one's definitely right up there because that was just like, and if anyone goes and watches the wee highlight video, it was a full weekend of tracking that team and like trying to like win the Kyogo. Like, it was all very fake, but it was all very real, you know. So that's definitely up there. The 3 gentlemen besides yourself, Laird, have all been here, so I couldn't pick exactly when. Like one of them have been here and said that one would be number 2 or whatever. But having people over, I'd probably say if I had to pick another one. I had Hoodwink in here one night and we signed him for FC Barcelona and that was good fun. If I had to mention like anyone dropping in, but having people in has been great fun. I think I had the Sorare Odyssey guys in here a few times. We did some live like streams and stuff like that. I tried to have like multiple people in here. That was all really good fun. But I seen that comment as well, and another memory came to my mind, but it's escaping me now. But like the last 3 years, like, it's been weird, right? Because the first year in particular, see me now trying to think of it, I couldn't call upon like what happened in the first year, if that makes sense, because it was all like the whole time. Like, it doesn't even feel like I've been in here for 3 years. It feels like it's just all went like that, you know. But the first year in particular, like if I could just say this, thanks for kind of bringing it up, Laird, or whatever. But the first year, it was like walking on clouds every day, you know. Like I had like obviously I'd got myself a bit of a bankroll together from selling some cards to put this place together. And like for the first year, 100%, like I was just living my best life every day. Like, I'd wake up, go for a wee swim, get a sauna, come into the studio, you know, turn the camera on, buy some Sorare cards, sell some Sorare cards, make a wee video. 40 people would watch it, go home, you know. Rinse and repeat. Do that every day. It was just so like I don't know if I could call that like a top memory or whatever, but definitely like the first year I've been in here, like it was. Everything was brilliant in that sense. Everything was fine. Everything worked. I hadn't like blown up any of the sockets yet. I hadn't get mad random letters from fucking lecky companies saying you owe us £1 million or whatever, and other nonsense that's happened over the last couple of years, certainly. But I said the other one, another one did come to mind when I seen that comment, and it's still escaping me. I thought it might have come back to me. But definitely having people over, like all the people that are here tonight, as well as one or two others that aren't, was a huge thing for me. So when I pulled this place together, like a big thing I wanted to do more of that I've never really did ultimately is have like more people here and maybe like set a camera up and maybe we watch a game together, maybe we do a stream, maybe we do some stuff. But you kind of underestimate how much kit you actually need for that. Like I've kind of got the kit, and sometimes when I'd done it, I could do it. But for some of you that were here for that, I think Stishman, you did a podcast actually. Like, yeah, we set the chairs up and we had 2 cameras on and we had some fun with that. But I have to like deconstruct everything and like move it around the room to get the mics and get the stuff in position or whatever. So I probably underestimated that in a little sense. But yeah, there's another thing that will come back to me later. When I remember it, I'll throw it in for number 3. So it was definitely something else that was like a really fond memory that I'll have of this place when I go. But certainly like the first year, like I wouldn't trade that for anything. I wouldn't trade the whole time I've been in here for anything, to be honest with you. And someone asked like what's happening. So like the studio obviously costs money, so I pay rent in here. I made a bit of a joke there about the Lecky company. That's a bit of one of those ones, you know, the best jokes have got a foundation of truth to them. So amongst a few, but I've also got 2 kids. They're both getting older. And the reason I took this place on is because I was recording from a cupboard. And like, although I've got like, and again, Harry's been in my place. I can't remember if you came up, Stish, but like, I've got like a big flat, a big apartment or whatever, but it's only, you know, I've got 2 kids that are getting bigger and all the rest of it. So, you know, yada, yada. I need to sell my house and buy a new one. And when I'm doing that, I'm thinking, right, okay, well, I'll get somewhere with an attic or a garage or something, a 4th bedroom, and I don't need to have external space anymore. So it's kind of like, I can't really justify the expense of the place anymore, to just be quite frank with everyone. And second of all, like in my life anyway, like I will be fixing the problem that this was the solution to anyway. So it's kind of a happy ending. And like Laird said at kind of the beginning, it's kind of not a celebration for having this place for the little while. I'll be sorry to see it go, but it's definitely not like I invited John on for tonight to see if he could make it or whatever. The first thing he said back to me was, "Are you jacking it in?" And I was like, "No, it's not that bad. It's just time to move on and onwards and upwards kind of thing." So it's nothing terrible. It's not any sort of terrible, god awful thing that's happened. It's just life and all the rest of it. But like I say, I wouldn't trade any of the time I've been here, but the first year especially. And I know you need to go, Laird, so I'll start yapping and give you a nice wee kind of outro or whatever. But yeah, the first year is definitely like a whole memory of stuff, you know, especially because the chat. I looked at a thing with the members the other night. I've got some pictures of me doing the studio up. I'll maybe show you this because this was good fun for me and the members the other night. But the joy of putting all this stuff together and just the kind of the journey of it all, it's just been mad to kind of see and go through.
Are you going to build another one, Quinny, in the new house?
Yeah, either in like the new house or like this is some pictures I've got from me setting the studio up when it was empty. So that's my kid for a bit of scale. So I think I posted a picture or 2 like this on Twitter or whatever. There's a few cringy videos as well. That's the dimensions if anyone cares. I never actually posted them, so we're too cringy, but they're in this row somewhere. As the carpet goes down, and then we start to see me like, goofing about. Trying to take some building the desk and all that fun stuff. Yeah, we don't need to listen to any of that crap.
Never fixed the toilet. It's still, when I was there, it was still at the toilet at Train Spotting, man. That should have been
I've still not cleaned the toilet. The toilet is disgusting, and it looks like it's. Yeah, you don't need to hear from me.
All the fun.
Yeah, we don't need to hear that. Me painting the wall and putting the soundproofing up, getting the scarves up. It's been a blast. It's been a ride. But yeah, I'll build something new, but it depends on how big the space is. And like part of my problem I've got is, let's say, I had to buy a computer and I couldn't fit that in my house, which is why I had to come into this. But now I need to bring all this stuff back to my house like tomorrow. Like, all of it. So it's going to be an emotional couple of days.
I think we also just wanted to confirm that this wasn't the end of the channel, just the end of the studio.
Yeah. Just next, like Sorare Volume 2, this will be Quinny, maybe Volume 3 or 4 at this stage. So actually, again, Laird, I'm really sorry for holding you. I know your time's limited, but I had my son in earlier today. He was off school sick. And I was just like, oh yeah, last shift in here talking about some stuff. And I went back to the channel, and I sorted by oldest. And like the first year of this channel is just screen records. Like you don't even see my face for the first bit of it and all the rest of it. So it's maybe on to like the 5th iteration of the channel or something at this stage. But I'm happy I came out here with 10,000 subs at least. I was a bit, and I kind of seen midsummer when I was on like 7,000, and I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to be leaving here quite soon. That would have felt like a bit of an L, you know, if I came in here with like 1 to 2,000 and then I left 3 years later, really not better off. Not that 10K is that much better, but at least it's a wee milestone where I can go, right, well, when I was there, I went from 1 or 2K to 10.
It's amazing.
Are we going to get a
Oh,
new?
well deserved.
We're going to get a new intro sequence, Quinny, because we can't use your own. Can't use your own
Yeah,
intro.
copyright.
Oh yeah, I have been thinking about that, and not to do any spot, but I'm probably going to do something a bit funnier where I'm maybe just like walking random places and then go in a random door, kind of, you know, one of those kind
Turn
of.
the computer on.
Yeah, do something funny like that.
Get that Scottish rave music pumping again.
But Laird, if you do need to go, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I feel like we're holding you hostage at this point.
Not at all. Not at all. I do have to go though. But thank you for the invite. Congrats on reaching 10,000. That's a lot of people. And so
Thank you.
happy to have
You're
one
next.
of them. And well, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thank you, and have fun, guys.
Cheers, bud.
Ed.
Do you know what to do, Quinny? Just forget the first 500 game weeks and then just call it game week 1. That's what to do. If you're new season,
That's it.
it's game week 1. Nobody cares about the other 4 years or whatever. Just like the classic modes and stuff like that. Just game week 1.
That's it. Game week 1. It.
We'll just sweep all that into the corner.
Yeah, one bit at a time.
Have you got a new? Is there someone coming into that space soon? Have they got like a new tenant coming in? Are they like on your case to get this stuff packed up and out tomorrow?
So the landlady's really understanding for the first thing. Second thing is she wanted someone to come in and view this place like a few weeks ago. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I'll just tidy up and make sure I've not had a cigarette before they come over. But then in the message, she said to me, oh, the guy has a shop and then says a street name. And I didn't really think anything of it. And then I went and checked the street name, and it's literally like the parallel street to where I'm at. So I messaged her back and I was like, listen, I'm not comfortable letting those people, somebody else in, because I've got a lot of stuff in here that's quite valuable, and I think they're just in for a nosy rather than anything. So I kiboshed that. But no one's in the back of me yet. And I have 4 days to give the keys back and get all this stuff into my house after tonight. Should be fun. But I thought this would be the last shift because I had to get the broadband cancelled, and I'm quite certain tomorrow the broadband won't be on. But if I come in tomorrow and the broadband is on, maybe I'll just squeeze a wee recording out or something for some transfer news or whatever. But like I've seen it later, it'll be an emotional few days trying to huck everything out here and get it back to Casa Quinn. But lots of comments to catch up with there as well. Sorry, but I was going to say to you guys as well on that kind of note, because like I mentioned in the intro when I brought him on, like Laird, I do see firmly now as like a bit of a cornerstone of the community. Like, you know, like everyone I think loves the Sorare Data channel for at least one of the shows, if not most of them. In most weeks, never mind the website and everything else. But Laird, of course, when it comes to content, is like the face of it. He's involved in baseball, basketball, he streams every day, even if there's nothing to talk about, and all the rest of it. But Harry, over the last like little month or so here, Harry's been the trailblazer for us all. First one through 10K out of this little group, certainly anyway. And the videos have been just absolutely crushing it. And it feels like Sorare content has kind of went up a little level over the last month or so, hasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I appreciate that little shout out. But yeah, I think NEP's kind of the acid test or whatever you want to call it, of like how you can still get good views, good, in comparison to Sorare numbers, thousands, not like hundreds, if that makes sense, like as the sort of top of the food chain. But yeah, no, it's possible. Like that was always my goal. I've always said to you, Quinny, haven't I? How long have I told you? You've been banging on to me, make football videos. I'm like, I know I've caved and done one, but like I've always been like, I just really want to be a Sorare YouTuber, like I just want to make Sorare content because that's what I'm super passionate about. I love the game. I love making content on the game. I don't want to then go and make content that like I'm not as passionate about. Anyway, but it's now got to that stage where like we're not there yet, but we were sort of dreaming about videos doing 5 to 10K. Not that like we're there yet, but we're in the ballpark. Like my Road to Glory is doing like 4 or 5Ks, and like we're creeping. We're like Nep can get like 6 to 10K on Sorare videos, which is amazing. I just think we're all getting to that stage now where, okay, prices are not where they used to be. We all know that, obviously. But from like a content standpoint, from like a selfish standpoint, like a creator standpoint, there is like an audience there. Where before, there just wasn't, let's be honest. Like you said, we were making videos to 40 people 3.5 years ago because the game was smaller, obviously. And now it's grown to a place where market's completely done, like it's all kind of, done like a swap, right? Like in some ways. But from my perspective, I want to continue making videos and stuff. And the more people that are around to watch them, the better. More people enjoy the game. But yeah, it's just a fun space. And yeah, you've kind of shown me the way of making those like football generic videos type of thing, which, I was against. I just didn't think I'd want to do them. But, there's certain ones I am interested in doing now, and I am trying to get into that. And that's big thanks to kind of following what you've done with all the transfer stuff. That's kind of been the motivation for that, seeing your success doing that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And yeah, I'm just buzzing that we've managed to sort of rise to a little 10K mark together. It's been quite the journey, mate, hasn't it?
It's been mad. And I was going to say on the Brighton video, like smashed it at the park, mate. Well done. Enjoyed watching that. Really nice intro as well. But I'll get the live chat's opinion on this because I've been saying to Harry, as he kind of said there, for ages to start making not just football videos, right? But with Harry as well, know him, Mr. Under 23, Mr. Midweek himself. Wonder Kid videos, like these guys that Harry is picking up. He knows these cards. This wee guy's breaking through, maybe gets a transfer. Like live chat. Wonder Kid videos from Harry, like IRL football style, like the Ferdy video he's done. Tell me if he's wanted or not. I know he's will. But congrats on 12K. I think that's maybe you coming from the future. Is this John Connor we're meeting here? Is this a time traveller in the live chat? Unless something's happened to one of our channels since we've been on, Harry. One of us have missed it.
I don't think so. But I just want to say, like, I'm so happy that there's like so much more Sorare content now these days. Like, when we started back in the day, you started a little bit before me. I was football index. Well, we're both football index, weren't we? As was John or whatever. But yeah, at one point there was a handful of Sorare content creators, which is fine. And now it's grown to like 50 handfuls, which is amazing. Like, it's so good to see like the space grow, because without more people wanting to make content, like the space just doesn't grow at the end of the day from like a user's perspective, a viewer's perspective, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's just sick to see, so many people making content these days. Like, it's really refreshing.
Yeah, definitely. There's plenty. It's hard to miss it now, isn't it? If you pop in and just sort of have a look, there'll be like 15, 20 videos, and there'll be a couple of new faces that you haven't seen before that are now posting about it. And obviously, like I was using Twitch initially, sort of like bits and bobs on there, and obviously Quinny and I were doing the live stream on there. So when we were doing our like podcast on Twitch, it was very rare that there were other people streaming on Twitch, at least in English anyway. But there's quite a few people streaming Sorare stuff on Twitch quite regularly when I pop my head in now. So definitely.
By the way,
Good to see. Go on.
I'm on 12K.
No way.
No way. I know.
Has Ronaldo or John shouted you out?
I literally checked it earlier. No, I didn't check it, but I literally seen the page earlier today, and it's just jumped up. Aye. Go me. Don't know how that happened, but thanks, guys.
Yeah, you are 12.1K.
Fucking don't know how that happened, but I'll take it.
Do you reckon John might have shouted you out? On
I don't know.
Or something. Because that's like, I looked on your channel earlier, you're on 10K.
Yeah, that's like a solid, aye. That's so bizarre.
2,000.
That's big. 20% jump in a day or two.
Don't complain about it, Quinny. Do not complain.
Yeah, just.
Oh, no one's complaining. I'm just like, wow. Take it back.
That's really good.
If John did, by the way. Thanks very much, John. If he did. I'm sure we'll find the cause of this mystery.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Or maybe a bunch of bots showed up. I don't care at this point. I'll take a But Kanana, the one I thought was a time traveller, thanks very much for bringing that to our attention. That's definitely put a wee, 2K in an hour, like for sure. Like it has been something mad like that. And
can you check your videos? Has any of them gone crazy?
I was going to say, I did put Arsenal Mikel Merino out at 8 o'clock, but it's only got 6 views. So unless they've got mad multi accounts on YouTube, those 6 Arsenal fans.
That's amazing, though.
That's
so
great.
sick.
Yeah, fucking said that.
Stash. That was a bad tackle on Matt O'Reilly. Jesus, the Brighton
Oh,
manager
was it?
raging.
I was reading some comments. It was saying it was really bad. It didn't look good. And
Yeah, no, I don't think it was a good one. I had to use proper hobbling. Definitely don't use them against Arsenal now.
no, I think when a player moves to a new club, I tend to just like forget about them for a few weeks anyway, and just see if they're going to become a starter or not. So I think he'd probably be, if he was going to be used by me in the next few weeks, it would have been like in my second string U23 super team or something like that. But
yeah,
I put him in there this week and captained him on the off chance he might get his like farewell at Celtic, but wasn't to be. Yeah,
Killed us all, that one. I heard him say in his one of his interviews today, like if he was hoping, he said it all happened so fast, and he thought he would have got a proper goodbye with us. So I think we all thought he might have got a goodbye at I was going to say Love Street. It's not Love Street anymore, obviously, but St Mirren Stadium at the weekend. But I was an absolute ball flattener.
Yeah, I ended up putting him in. I had every single lineup with him out, and I decided I was leaving him out, and then he was in training, and then there was Rodgers, and I put him back in, and that killed a few. But there we go. Still done all right. Celtic 1-0, so Kasper Schmeichel's the best goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life. Actually keeping clean sheets. 3 wins to 0 in the start of the season. And the mighty Rangers coming up on Sunday. So there we go. We passed that Essence threshold in no time at all. No time at all.
You were talking about that earlier, and it made me look at mine. And when you was talking about having like nearly 200 odd Essence, and I'm thinking, I'm lucky if I scrape another sort of 10, 15 on a game week at the minute. So that like tier 5 plus threshold was looking at me, and I had like Harry's voice and Laird's voice kind of like echoing in my head. So yeah, while we were on the live stream, I did actually rip that tier 5, and it was a tier 5, and it wasn't worth reporting. So that's why I haven't mentioned it. I got Manprit Sakaria, who's been out for the majority of the season. Came off the bench once, and he's injured again by looks of things. So yeah, he is on the market if anyone's looking for Manprit Sakaria.
Or a Matt O'Reilly super rare.
Exactly that, yeah.
That O'Reilly challenge is really bad.
What is it?
No, like
I've
broken my leg twice, so I kind of know what it looks like. And Jesus, mate, that is high.
Yeah, I don't know if he has actually broken anything, but he's definitely taken a real proper sore one, isn't he? Like that is terrible tackle.
I want to see this. I'll put it on the live. I'll put it on the stream.
I'm just having a look now. Ouch! Yeah, that's a cruncher.
Yeah, hopefully it's just an impact thing rather than an actual.
He doesn't look planted, so he might be okay. But if he was planted, that's a snap.
EFL Cup challenge, like get into
a crunch,
let them know you're there. Let them know you're there. That's a
This guy came for 30 million.
Yeah, 30 mil.
Yeah. Ouch.
No replay on the close up, but
yeah, I don't think they want to show it, to be honest.
He did walk off. I think I seen the pictures of him like walking. Yeah, kind of.
Two people holding him up.
Yeah.
Oh dear, that's a shame.
No stretcher's a good sign.
Yeah,
Harry's talking about leg breaks.
Well, I broke my leg. I walked off as well. So
aye, but that's not playing for Brighton in the Premier League, multi-million pounds, and
it doesn't matter. Legs are legs, but bones are bones. It doesn't matter if they're worth 30 million or not. They just snap, unfortunately.
I know, but they've big insurance policies on these guys, Harry boy. Can you walk him off the pitch and do further damage?
Be surprised. It could be a fracture. Like fractures are still walkable.
Yeah, welcome back to England for sure on that one.
Yeah.
It wasn't a red card. Interesting. Well, there'll be no VAR or anything like that to catch it. And one thing I did want to kind of bring up when we were on the stream tonight, obviously I had a wee bit of reflection there and all the rest of it over the last couple of years. But for me, like, it is it's not a backwards thing or anything. That's just a change and all the rest of it. And I definitely find myself looking around here thinking like myself, the channel, Sorare, my FC club, FC Barcelona, all the rest of it. Everything's went on quite a lot in 3 years in the blink of an eye. And especially when it comes to Sorare, for anyone in the live chat and for you guys that are with me, obviously, tonight. Let's fast forward 3 years right now. Let's time travel just like Keenan in here, who knew we were getting to 12K. 3 years from now, what does it look like playing Sorare? Thoughts, first instincts, hunches?
I think it's hard. I reckon. I think it's hard now. I can think another 3 to 5 years of supply, unless it'd be really hard or really expensive again, because depending on how big the growth is versus the supply. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I was just having a little look at the chart, the current chart on Sobase. The number of new managers buying a first card is this month actually a lot higher than it's been since August, since this time last year, really. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it ends this, because August last year was quite good as well, and then it come down, and then we had peaked up in December again. But the growth over the last few months looked quite good. So if they can keep that going, and then obviously with this new in season, we're going to see the same again the following year. But if we've got new players who came in and bought a new card, then you'd hope to think that they would maybe purchase again this time next year. So could be really interesting to see how many people do come in and kind of treat it the way that we see, like the money that goes into a FIFA game every year, and without much thought of losing it. They're not, if it's thought of like more like that, more of a game than an investment, then maybe the game does finally start to outgrow the supply again, and we might start to see card prices pick up a little bit, and everyone might start feeling a bit rosier about things. But yeah, I still enjoy the game. I know, like, maybe it's harder to get excited about some of the card wins now, because they're not quite, some of the card wins we could have got 2-3 years ago were literally life changing. Like, you get a win an Mbappe who's worth 20 grand. Do you know what I mean? That was insane amount of money. But I don't know if we'll see that again. But yeah, I'm optimistic, and I think, yeah, that surely the product is sustainable now. Like from a value perspective, from a business perspective, they must be happy with, the way the rewards are now, the cash. They can kind of quantify it all. Whereas with it was hard to know exactly how much money they were giving away every week with the cap modes and stuff. So yeah, it might not, I think we're still going through a teething period now, but I'm pretty confident that they'll keep getting it right, and hopefully keep innovating and keep it fresh. But yeah, I think I'm expecting to get harder. If anything, I think you're gonna need to be in the market or expect to fall behind.
Harry, McBride?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? It's so hard to forecast, isn't it? Like 3 years ago, we wouldn't have never have foreseen there to be like an in season and I think whatever's going to happen in 3 years is going to be so left field, that it'd be impossible to predict. But they're really banging on the free to play side of things, aren't they? They're buzzing off the rivals and stuff. Like there is things that I can see the game being used by X 100,000 of users or 500,000 users. Like, I do see it growing. Does that translate fully over to the pro side? Probably not. But, there will be a portion that obviously does and plays both. And, that's why I see needed. The transition needs to be smooth. I'm not saying it's not smooth now, but it just needs to continue to get smoother. Rivals to pro, and then you're hooked. Then like that's something you love playing or whatever. With your disposable income and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say. Sorry, like if they do keep this classic in season thing, for me, they do need to somehow, make classic a little bit more, relative, maybe like on what McBride says, in his post and what he said earlier, because the more you devalue that, the more you're, alienating your existing audience. So those audience, those people, those customers aren't going to continue to buy new cards year on year, because they're just seeing the classic things just go to the absolute shitter. there's no, you're never going to make up the difference between what you're losing on those classic cards to like what you're going to then buy for the new season and the new season and the new season. It just doesn't work for me. Like something needs, there needs to be something. But then I say that there's only so many card rewards to be given out. So there needs to be things outside of that is, exclusive, VIP, like there needs to be some fun things that not so much money can't buy, but just to scale a little bit better than cards, because cards have a fixed supply and we all know that. That's never going to change unless they bring in a new scarcity, but that doesn't change rare. That doesn't change super rare, having 10 cards, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. There is worries for me. There's always, the game isn't perfect. It's never been perfect, but I do think, they're ironing things out gradually, and hopefully they listen to certain things, and they have done over time. Like kudos, like they definitely do listen to the community. They listen to Dom Fitness, and I do have to give them props for that. Yeah, it's not perfect. Is it ever going to be perfect, Quinny? Who knows? I don't think it's going to be. I think it's because they are trailblazers. They're always there's nothing to go off, is there? I say we, but they are, like first in the space, so they're gonna make mistakes. Let's just hope that they don't make them, too costly in that sense. I'm fine with mistakes. Mistakes have to happen when you're like the first in a, what's the word, genre or category or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm excited about it. Like I'm positive, but I do think there's definitely things that need to be ironed out, which I'm sure McBride will sort of continue on.
Yeah. How long have we got?
What do you want, mate?
Nah.
We go until the broadband gets turned off.
Yeah. And over a bottle of tequila, then we're laughing. Yeah, I think in a couple of years' time, the platform will have grown. I'm not 100% convinced that a lot of the prices will be a lot higher than just now. It's an interesting one because everybody would love the prices to be a wee bit higher just now, but with this in-season stuff, you've got to sort of front end it. So maybe it's almost like a transfer window, like Celtic get the biscuit tin out, right? We're going to have to buy some players, and you want to get that full season's utility. So it's going to be a bit more like that. How much will people be able to invest into something like that? And how much do people play on in that and then end up going through the game without, sort of winning within the game? So that's all quite interesting. I don't think the balance is right. I think they're just taking sort of necessary steps to make sure that everything's all sustainable and they can pay out all the cash, and then they'll react from there. So it's like sort out the end season, and then we'll worry about the other stuff later on. So as long as they address that, that's fine. The big sort of sticking point is going to be if they don't address it, there's still a lot of people that are pretty pissed off. So to project ahead 3 years, you've got to assume that you can keep a good amount of the existing user base engaged and still here. Because I know I've done really well out of the game, but I put some money in the summer as well, put some of my own money in the summer. I said to Claire, I've got some money aside, definitely going to buy some Celtic players and things like that. So just because it's an existing user doesn't mean that people are not going to put in some of their own sort of cash as well. But I think we're in pole position. All the other games have all failed, and I know it's kind of sounds like a bit of a backhanded comment. Oh well, at least Sorare's not failed, but like that's a good thing in this space as well. Like a lot of the other games have just completely went by the wayside, and if you get that sort of set up of right, you agree with the regulators, we're not going to pay out any more than X amount in terms of rewards. We're not doing 5x IPDs and fucking spending your credit card and just we're going into Germany and all that shit used to happen in Football Index. But it's definitely got the outline of a really sustainable game. So it's just how you work out those other wee problems that come within that. So I think we'll have more users. You'll have relatively similar prices because you'll have a lot more supply of cards. So the more users will struggle to put the card prices up, but you might see that there's more demand for the in-season stuff, etc. And we've still, what will happen with the EPL license and things like that will be important. Will somebody be able to come along and think they're going to do it better? Will the EPL say we'll turn FPL into Sorare, whatever? There's other threats that could sort of happen with that. And I think the other thing that will happen is there'll be less clubs on. I know that's a bold prediction, but I just think there's actually they went too ambitious on the amount of clubs that are actually on the platform. So we grew up with Sorare being like, we're getting in amongst the J League, we're getting in amongst the K League, we're doing this, we're doing that. And now we're in a scenario where they're starting to cut out some of the Turkish league, and they're starting. So it might be that rather than having loads and loads and loads and loads of clubs, they just say, just want Celtic and Rangers, or we just want PSV, and just want the top players or whatever, not have all these other supply options of cards, like, given other options. Because it's great that we've got all these clubs on and you've got fans of the clubs you can collect and everything, but that's one of the ways you can address supply and demand. You just keep 1,000, 110, but you don't mint as many clubs. Said no to Saudi, didn't cover Saudi. There's definitely some leagues that are there now that they wouldn't choose to cover if you started up again. So that might just get sort of refined as you go along, so you get to a point where it's a bit better, I think. So
I'm surprised to hear that one, that you think after this like column of clubs that they've had now that they would maybe do that again. But I definitely see the rationale behind it. But it just surprised me.
yeah,
I can
top
over the
leagues,
next year, like it's no, sorry, you go.
yeah, well, top leagues, it would make more sense for like to have all the French clubs or whatever, as a French company. But you might, if it's like if the deal's not preferential, or if a lot of the Scottish clubs, sorry to say, but if a lot of them are a waste of time and they're selling for £1 a limited or whatever, what's the point of even having them on there? That type of thing, So, like, is there really a point? The point I made about it was, like, say Kasper Schmeichel moved to Celtic and he's been so high, but the reason was he never really had any cards. He only got Anderlecht cards before the Euros. So what does Sorare want? Does Sorare want that somebody moves from St Johnstone or next Andrew Roberts and they go to Celtic and they've already got 1,000 cards? Or do they just want to see that guy's absolutely brilliant and start selling them for 40 quid a pop when it comes to Celtic? So there'll definitely be some sort of league-based decisions there where they look at it and they go, is it really sort of worth having that sort of coverage? I hope that the whole global thing stays, because, obviously you need to address what's happening in the summer. Scotland's really good, because if not, you would only really have like the English and the Turkish games over Christmas and things. So there's a full sort of football calendar. But I just think that one of the ways, rather than burning cards and stuff, one of the ways Sorare will address that is just by making some more clever choices about what they take on an ongoing basis. That might be the way to do it through time.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've kind of thought as well with some of these leagues and clubs that get called, it was maybe a bit of a cost-benefit analysis situation where they'd obviously pay for the licenses and stuff like that, and the knock-on effect it has to supply the overall market. Division 2 goalkeepers, like we know, made a lot of goalkeepers, especially at limited, just a lot more affordable because of the variety available. But yeah, I think at this point, like I say, I'm just kind of getting flashbacks to like early Sorare in 2021, 2020, where the number one objective, and you all remember it, was to get the top 20 leagues, even though we've dispensed with Bundesliga 2 and this and that and the other thing. In Turkey, Russia, they're a wee bit funny situations in terms of Turkey. We've still got the big clubs, and Russia's Russia. But I think they still maintain the top 20 leagues. I don't think they've cut anyone out that would have detracted. So maybe that's a bit more of a thing that they've done with this, is consolidating. And I was just surprised at the same McBride that you think that's something they might revisit again. I could maybe see it with like tertiary Croatia and Austria perhaps, but then I think it does make that region even thinner and then a bit more reliant on the star cards and then a bit harder to win as a result. The one thing I was going to say, I would like to think that they've done really well over this last year and a half. I think the main focus, it kind of ties into this column of licenses that we've just mentioned, but I think the main focus they've had and what they've done a really good job on is like the free-to-play up to maybe like a budget rare player. I think your experience in coming to the market and getting started now with Sorare, if you're in that spectrum, is the best it's ever been, to be honest with you. Like, I did a video on the channel a month ago or so for like how to open your account and all that stuff. And honestly, like, see, once you've opened it, you don't need a video from me to tell you anything about it. It explains everything. It even gets you to walk through and like, yeah. So I think it's just top to bottom on that side, really slick. But what that's at the detriment of at the moment is advanced rare players and super rare players, because that side of things is really where the frustration, I think, is everywhere. And like, I would hope over the next 3 years, ideally nowhere near that length of time, but like that section of the game, and it's not even thinking about it from a selfish perspective, a market perspective, a card price perspective, but even if you think about the game as an overall landscape, like you start for free, you play with limiteds for a budget, you learn the ropes, you get some succession, you move up, yada yada. But what does it look like if you had, you know, McBride lottery winning funds or something like that? Or what does it look like once you've played this game for 5? Like, what does it compound into? What does it build into? And I've always had this kind of blue sky thinking horizon of like being a pro player on Sorare, and what does that mean? And like, could you be like a pro poker player or a pro esports player as a kind of result of it? And I've always thought that's something that this game would have. And if it did have it, it would be top end or rare or super rare. Most likely it could be unique, but I just don't think there's enough cards up there anytime soon for that to happen. So I hope that they still kind of have, you know, that kind of overall game spectrum. Like, what is the nth degree of someone that will just spend all the money, buy all the cards, and these 1 of 10s, like, why are they special? Because like, yeah, you're playing against less people and there's less cards to fight against, fine, but maybe they are like the pro cards where it's like fucking pro poker style or something like that. So that's the number one thing I think they've done work that, you know, you guys were talking about, maybe like it's hard to think about where it might be. It's in season and classic, it might be totally different. But I think so much of the work they've done over the last 18 months or so is like you know, maybe it gets tweaked and painted up a bit different, but it's probably like quite firmly like in the ground. And that's what I think anyway. Hopefully now it's, you know, looking after the top end of the game now. Like, what are you really striving for? Why do you want to build those players up, keep them another season, buy again next season? What are you, you know, like, give the game some sort of thing for you to be engaged with. It's a bit more like, it might not be winning a 20k Mbappe anymore, but it's like, oh, well, if I could get this together, then I can compete in something, or if I can play at a different table, a different venue, a sponsored competition, something. I don't know. So that's just the one thing I thought I'd throw in.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Like, the good thing about the cash is that next season you can say, right, well, you know, it's worked really well last season. We've learned some lessons. We're going to do 17 million this season, or we're going to do 20 million or whatever. You can kind of like say up front how much it's going to be, and people will know what to expect. As Harry hit the nail on the head, that's the one thing that I'm a bit concerned about, because Sorare has always been talking about, don't play FIFA, don't just put all your money in FIFA because you don't own the players. And after a year, you've got to go and you've got to buy them again. And Sorare's becoming FIFA. We've got fucking card crafting and people having walkouts and reveals and everything. So, like, we don't want to be too close to that, because if the game's just going to be relying on getting to the stage where people just want to put in their money every year, then the cards won't have a high amount of value. So you've got to balance that a wee bit and have that kind of overflow for what happens with the rest of the classic game. What's their use? Where do you use them? How do you help your in-season elements of things, etc. as well? And this is all new, so the balance of it is unlikely to be completely right just now, because they'll have to be cautious. You can't run out of cards. So everybody all crafts and then they run out of cards or whatever. You can't do that. But I think what will surprise Sorare is like people's impatience. Like, people are just whacking these like card craftings and everything out at tier 4s and tier 3 is just gambling for stars. Like, the only way they can really run out of cards is if like everybody does amazingly well at it and they just build it up, and then they've just got all these people all sitting in 500 and they've no stars left or whatever. I don't know how it works out, but they've obviously planned all of that, if you know what I mean. So let's see. But the balance is not right. I mean, it's not right. People are getting like nearly 500 points and stuff, and getting guys that are worth £20 for a rare and stuff. That's not. Nobody's going to stay engaged in that. So you come in and you say, well, I've not got £3,000 to play in season or whatever, but I want to play the game. I'm going to play the classic mode. I'll go in with my 30, 40 quid or whatever. I'll get some cheaper cards. And you never ever really do anything. How's that really that engaging for people, if you know what I mean? Because when we come in, it was engaging because you got a free rare, and basically then they were signing up all the big leagues and everything, and then card prices started going up. So you were really engaged because you knew that actually when people were coming on, big leagues were coming on, it was sort of moving forward. So that's going to be the challenge. If things just keep going the same or going, well, you don't want them going down any more than they are just now. But at some point, you've got to actually stabilize the car. I dare say, like the prices actually go up a wee bit as well because they've splurged out all these cards and then slow it down and they say, well, we've only got 20% of the rare supply left or whatever. Now we're just going to space that properly out and just get, go on that way as well. Roman, is Jota going to Rennes?
Confirmed, yeah. Yeah.
So not Celtic?
Not Celtic.
That's not happening, is it? That's
No.
good. Italy.
Yeah.
Italy. Back to the all that deep and meaningful stuff about Sorare. Like they've got to get the balance right. The balance isn't right. I think that they've had a really good result with how much money people have spent, but everybody would be completely lying if they thought that some of the current card prices are actually good. Like Super Rare's fucked. Like they've completely fucked Super Rare. There's no pro, there's no threshold, you can't sell the cards when you win them. I got a podium in Contender. I got a John Joe Kenny for podium in Contender. Like in D1, how is that actually like good? It's the podium in D1. It's supposed to be the top division in Contender and Classic. So how is that good? I think it's actually decent at Herfa, but he's lucky if he's worth 100 quid or something like that. That's shit. So they've got to address that. They've got to sort that out. Because you can't have the Super Rare, like people falling back on the rares and stuff. Say, that's fine, you can just use it as a rare. That's never a viable strategy. It's just if you've got a spare, like it's not a strategy. So how do they do that? Do they even just actually admit that maybe you should have some sort of some sort of bridge between rare and Super Rare, just as a special or whatever, just in big weekends or something? Because taking away the under 23 pro, All-Star Pro and all that sort of stuff just removed all the tournaments that I liked. So I don't know how you guys feel. It just removed all the stuff that I actually enjoyed playing and fucked up my gallery. It's taken so long to try and rejig my gallery to get back to the point where we need to get, because it just takes ages to just shift all those different pieces about and stuff like that. So yeah, there'll be some changes. There'll definitely have to be some changes or refinements. Just nothing as major as we've had in the last year, obviously.
Yeah, Red Pro going was a big one, wasn't it?
I hate it. Just hate it.
Red Pro was my favorite tourney by a mile.
Yeah,
by an absolute mile. Because I didn't have enough, like, I didn't have enough legs to play like under 23 super rare, like to the abilities I would have liked to have. So I had a couple of really good supers that would obviously play in rare, and literally my best one. Like, I think I won it 8 times. Like, it was my best by an absolute country mile. Couldn't win for Toffee in under 23 rare, but for Rare Pro, that was like my bread and butter. I loved it, and I do get why they got rid of it, but I also think now, like you said, they have just really stripped super rare, haven't they? It's just been stripped of anything, like anything exclusive, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel exclusive anymore to own supers. And Quinny, I remember, going back to what you said about the like the game of being like a Sorare Pro or like a game, esports and all that stuff. Like, I think that was kind of my vision early on, thinking like, oh, if you have like rares and supers and even obviously uniques as well, like that is where the pro players are going to be playing. Like, there's going to be like a higher rollers table in some capacity, where there's esports and there's actual tournaments, and you mentioned the sponsor, like all that sort of stuff. Which I'm not ruling it out, but we obviously doesn't seem like it's going down that route, and it seems like they want to sort of commercialize it as much as possible. Which I get, like they need hundreds of thousands of users to buy hundreds of thousands of limiteds and rares and whatever. I get it, but we've always said for so long, haven't we? Like, whales keep this game alive in a lot of ways, and they're not given the incentive to be a whale. It just isn't there. We've seen many leave, and I'm not counting myself in that at all, but like, it just does feel like it's just not a place anymore, is it, for those type of spenders to see, a return. I know Pranksy's here and whatever, but like, let's be honest, bar Pranksy, who's joined really? If we like, notable whales and stuff, because it's just not as lucrative. As McBride said, it's just not. Like, if you had 10, 15 grand spare, not that many people do, but if you got a bit of money behind you, like, you wouldn't play that tournament. You just buy loads of rare in seasons and just smash them out, because you can play 3 in every competition. Like, I don't know. The incentive ain't there, and there is obviously fixes. I'm not saying it's going to just completely fix it, but like, there's got to be something to make it more lucrative. Has to be, otherwise it just dies. You might as well just have limited and rare.
Yeah. So far off that at this point. I was going to say as well on the absence of Rare Pro, like one of the fun things for me about that was the decision making you had around building your squad, because like what the super rare would do for anyone who's new is it would have an extra bonus on the rares. So like you could maybe afford like a Kimmich or an Mbappe or somebody like that at rare, but you could never get them at super rare. So what you'd maybe then be looking for is like that 52 average guy is the super rare to then make up the difference of the points. And then you've not just got that for the super rares you're selecting to bring into your squad you're trying to buy or trade into, but then when it comes to actually picking the team, it's like, who's the two supers, like who's actually got the good games, and then your captains are rare, and it just brought up a lot of fun problems for you to pick your best team, which is a lot of the fun I think a lot of us had with obviously hitting the rewards that came with it and selling cards and all that was great. But I think like when it comes to the fun part that you definitely miss now in the SO5 arena, for me, that decision making on combining the two colours of cards, like who could I get in and who's undervalued and who do I think's an L15 average of 45 but should be a 52 and all that stuff. And then, as I say, who do you actually this weekend right now for these games, who am I plugging in together? That's that's a big, no, I don't know if it's a big void, but it's certainly a void that's there now in the SO5 arena.
Yeah. Joe, what Pranks' problem's going to be? Who's going to buy his cards? So, like, you don't really have that as much at limited, because you could go on and you could shift like pretty much a full limited gallery in a couple of days, but who is going to actually buy Pranksy out? So Pranksy goes on and it's brilliant. He can win a tier 1 unique. And what's he going to do with that? Like, you might be able to win some more cash, but who's coming in behind that? Who's coming out of super rare, or who's coming into the site that says, I want to go and buy his cards? So maybe there could be other things that could affect that. Crypto could go quite high again. My pet hate on the platform just now is this stupid split wallet. So you go in and you think, right, Celtic's linked by a goalkeeper. I want to buy that goalkeeper. Brilliant. I've not got money on the site just now, but I've got some money aside. I'm going to buy the goalkeeper. You've got to buy a goalkeeper and it's F only. You can't buy it. And that's it. I can't buy F in the UK. You're not allowed to buy F and Ramp anymore. That's it. Even just a daft example, the Copa America was on and I wanted to do a wee limited stack. I thought, that's great. I'll buy the guy Vargas that plays for Colombia. Went on to limited. I clicked the first 5 or 6 of them. Every single one of them were F only. Why the fuck would you play limited and be F only? Nobody was buying them. I ended up paying 25 quid for a 20 quid limited card because they were all F only. I didn't have any Ethereum. So there's definitely things they can solve, because if you had a solution where actually you could buy a card with pounds and the seller got Ethereum, that would get the sort of crypto guys involved again. But now we've got a situation where Sorare's vision was, well, it was an Ethereum game and all that sort of stuff, and that's the technology it's on. But you've got a lot of people there who still just want to receive Ethereum for their own reasons. That's fine, but nobody's got it because everybody's putting in their pounds, or they're taking pounds in their tournaments or whatever. So they need to solve that situation with the split wallet, etc., because that's undoubtedly fucking up a lot of the liquidity in the platform as well, even happening at limited and rare. You just have to go in and filter out, all right, I can't buy that. So that's if you can even see it, because you went to the end season bit and you've been like, it's just been filtered out as if there's no cards there anymore. So that's my other rant of the day. Like, these cards don't exist anymore. They've been filtered out. You need to go and work out how to get to them. But that's a definite problem. But that's a way that the platform at the top end can grow again, because if you solve that and then Ethereum doubles or whatever, then you'll have people who have made some money in crypto and they start saying, oh, this might drop again. They want to put it into Sorare, like Pranksy did. So,
Aye, no, that's a good point, mate. I never really thought about it in that sense, but I think the merge wallet is definitely something that would add a wee bit more lubrication into the market for sure. I never really thought about it in this way, but yeah, no, I'm with you all the way on that one.
It kills super rares. Like, there's been times where I wanted to buy a super rare and just couldn't buy it. So that's that's not good for the market in any way. What you want the money flowing about the market. Obviously, some people are going to take some money out, but a lot of times people are not selling cards just to sell up. Maybe they've won a super rare card, they want to sell it so they can release some money and go back to the auction and put it towards something else. The other thing that you really got to think about at some point is whether they actually just force people just not to be swapping cards. Whether they like, you know what I say, well, you've got to pay a fee for it, but if people are just swapping cards, maybe they could put in a very, very small fee there. I know it's 5%, but how much money are they actually realizing in 5% if everybody's just swapping cards between each other? So if you charge a really small fee, say like every limited, you swapped with somebody else, you had to pay 20 pence or 25 pence or something like that, would add up so quickly, and you just put all that money into the classic mode. So just start putting that money into the podiums and put some money back in, just so there's ways they can generate revenue. It's just the real annoying thing is how long it takes to actually get all this stuff sorted. Like, how can I not think of stuff like this? Like, it's your site, like, come up with something that's a better solution than fitness, like, which was I just don't think it would have worked. So anyway, we'll go back to that. We don't need to talk about fitness. Getting too old now.
I was going to say, you've gave me a wee thought. There's something I seen earlier today that was quite funny. I'd like to see your guys' reaction to this, right? So you've probably seen the thing Sorare done, Sorare DMs, and they messaged some pro players. One of them was Grimaldo, and you might remember Grimaldo said he's the player to watch out for this year. I think he knows he's an SO5 smasher. He's had enough of those at mentions across a few platforms, perhaps. And that led me to, it'll be in a short that might come out in a day or two or whatever, but it led me to go and look at Grimaldo's gallery. And he's been a busy boy, by the way. He went and got himself an Otavio, right? Remember, Grimaldo did play in Portugal, so I take that as a worthy opponent that he played. But then look at this, right? 5 days ago, Ryan Felipe, never heard of him. 4 days ago, Quinton Westberg, super rare. Miramom, super rare. 2 days ago, God knows who that is. Jordi Saladio of Dender. And this is his only SO5 history. So I don't know what he's going on here. And then this other random guy in Croatia who's 24. He's not even that young. And look at his SO5 history. So I seen this earlier and I thought, Grimaldo's a wee busy boy. He's got some other in-season cards that he's won back here. So he has been playing. But I'm like, this is a random ass set of traits if ever I've seen it. From Grimaldo. I mean?
I've just realised that Otavio's the young kid now. That's a different Otavio.
Yeah,
they've got a centre half, haven't they? I literally just realised because I thought he'd have a red X, wouldn't he? Because obviously he'd have he'd be at Al Nassr. Someone said in the chat though, I'm pretty sure someone said Otavio's like been linked somewhere really good, like the other Otavio.
He may have still played against him, so I think this guy's needed a card for a while.
Yeah, he definitely could have. He definitely could have. But yeah, Grimaldo, that's funny.
That's a good one, I thought. And this is an our side one I'll give you, and then you guys can come in case I talked over you a second ago, sorry. But I looked at Gundo's as well, right? And again, Gundo was in that DMs thing, and you probably know he's got some cards already. But, a funny thing occurred to me when I was looking at his gallery, right, is he's came onto the platform and he's bought like a little Dortmund stack. He's got his player edition card. He's then went out and got like a German national team thing. And then the first reward he gets is Sho Inagaki, and he's never
legend.
He's never done anything ever since. Like he didn't play that Germany team through the Euros. He didn't do. He got Sho Inagaki, and he went, "Fuck this."
Don't blame him.
Sho Inagaki was one of the first cards I had in my gallery from the early days of Sorare. He was an early days Club Tropicana legend.
That's
him and Yonemoto. Defensive midfield pair for Nagoya Grampus. They were absolute smashers a few seasons ago.
That's funny.
I knew I recognised his name as being a bit of a Sorare kind of hero.
I'm sure I mentioned him before. Yeah, 100%. That's hilarious. That's brilliant, lads. I've got to shoot. I've just realised the time.
I was going to say, guys, we've been going for about 2 hours anyway. So unless there's anything I've spoke over you want to get off your chest, I was just going to say we can just wrap up here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got to get going, but it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. And looking forward to seeing the new setup when you get settled in your new pad.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to recording end product for you later in the week, Stishy boy. But thanks for coming in tonight. Really appreciate it, mate. And see you soon.
Nice one, guys. Take care. Easy McBride,
problem,
easy
mate.
Harry. See you in a bit.
Nice one, mate.
Stishy boy. But yeah, I think we can just outro this, guys. But thanks to everyone who's been here for 2 hours and 5 minutes. Thanks to everyone that's been here for the last 3 years, 5 years, however long it is. Maybe you're one of the 2,000 people that showed up an hour ago. But no matter how long you've been here, thanks very much for all the support on the channel. And McBride and Harry, of course, finishing the show up with me. Thanks to both of you guys again for spending your time with us. It means a lot.
Oh, mate, anytime. I'm there.
And thanks a lot, guys. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.
Satara.